I love a good time travel plot.
So there were some things that I very unsubtly tried to get you to see, but I don't know if you noticed. Like, did you catch the whole pine thing? Why I kept referring to the pines?
Yeah, the 2 pines versus the 1 pine. I saw that you were trying to do something, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, so originally the mall is called Twin Pines Mall.
Mm-hmm.
When Marty goes back to 1955 at that farm, the Twin Pines farm, he drives the DeLorean and kills one of the pine trees. So there's only one left. So when he returns to 1985, it's the Lone Pine Mall. Because he killed it.
Wow. But see, that directs us right into our conversation about time travel.
Yes. Right. So they will get more explicit about it in future movies, but this is definitely a branching universe theory of time travel.
Right. So that would be like in-game theory of time travel.
Yes, exactly. Because Marty goes back and he makes changes in 1955. It creates an alternate universe in which his parents still have the hots, or have the hots for each other at all, and it's a Lone Pine Mall, etc., etc.
Right, he's making changes, therefore the future changes, therefore it can't be like the same kind of universe as, for example, Harry Potter in Prisoner of Azkaban.
Correct.
Where it's clearly a fate-based universe, where even though they go to the past, they're only doing things that were, like, already gonna happen. So the universe knows that they are gonna go back in time, and everything they do is reflected in their future current time.
Right. Harry Potter is, you can't change the past, it's the past. Anything that happens already happened, has always happened, will always happen.
Right.
We're back to the future.
Their paradox system worse, right? So it's like really terrible if like past Hermione sees like current Hermione, because then it's not just like a alternate universe that like then they just like explode or something. I don't know, but it's not good.
They have no system for that. But in Back to the Future, it creates an alternate line, which again they will get explicit and literally draw it on a chalkboard in the future to show it. Does that mean that the original timeline died?
This is what's weird for me about the alternate. I was thinking about this while I was watching it. So, because it like creates a new timeline, why were they disappearing in their old timeline? They just created a new system. So everything in the past from his timeline should be the same. And then how does he choose to come back to the same timeline that he was already altering, as opposed to going back to his original timeline?
Well, because he was physically in the new timeline, so he had no way to travel to his original timeline. So I guess theoretically you could say the photograph. Okay, here's my theory. The photograph came from the prime timeline, so it was affected. I'm guessing it's probably more accurate to say that entire timeline is in the process of disappearing.
Right, but then the photo changes back to good.
Right, he restores it, so then that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, I think that's like on them that because I think this movie, I know they probably fix it in future movies, but I think this movie is operating on that third rule of time travel, which is the like Doctor Who one, where like anything goes, where you can change the past.
The one formerly known as
Right. So because he can change the past, and then it has like the changes he makes do affect the future, but it's not like a problem. You know?
Yeah. Well, here's always my problem in the branching universe theory is that Marty McFly, the one we're following in the movie, is from the prime timeline. Mm-hmm. So he creates a new timeline, and essentially he is an alien in a new timeline. And presumably in that timeline, his parents give birth to a whole other Marty McFly, a Marty McFly that comes out of that particular relationship.
Right, exactly.
And all of a sudden, in 1985, this other Marty is going to show up. There's going to be two Martys. And then in the prime timeline, in the, like, sad, distressed family timeline, Marty, like, leaves in the middle of the night to go see his older friend and never returns. And they find that Doc Brown has been shot, Marty has disappeared. You probably make a horrible assumption. And then the prime timeline family is just destroyed.
Correct. I think it's much nicer to think that timeline disappears. So if we're going with that and we pretend we didn't see that the picture fixed itself.
Okay.
And then I think we also have to jump in. What clothes is he wearing? Clothes that he would have woken up in that morning. He's not wearing his travel clothes.
Didn't he? Did he change back into his original outfit?
But he's not wearing the original outfit when he wakes up. He's wearing, like, that gray and black shirt with the suspenders. That's
the middle layer. This man is wearing so many layers. He has, like, the burgundy t-shirt, and then the plaid shirt over it, and then the denim jacket, and then the orange hoodie over that.
Okay, so that's his underlayer.
Yes.
Okay. Well, either way, we can assume that when you jump into a new timeline, instead of there being a new timeline version, you just become that person. So, like, it's the universe kind of...
The nightmares of future past.
Yes, exactly. Kind of so you, like, embody that person, and then, unfortunately, that version of that timeline, it disappears and it's gone forever. Which I think is a very interesting concept to work with if you were going to do it in a movie that wasn't so comedy, where you have now a person that's trying to escape their timeline comes here, and then it has a completely different life, and that person's like, where's my spouse? What is happening? You are not the person that I married.
They're like what's it called, a cuckoo in the nest situation, a changeling, essentially.
Right, exactly. Like, you don't have any of our memories, but you look like the same person. What is that? But I think that's what we have to believe.
Yes. Yes. Well, given that this is a comedy adventure, we can probably rule out some of these particularly horrific outcomes.
Correct.
But if I'm feeling really pedantic, then I'm like, somewhere out there, a verge of divorce, Lorraine and George have just lost their son, presumably, in, like, a terrorist attack at the mall.
They're not doing well. And then
someone is like, no. And then someone is like, why did they let their son hang out with this old mad scientist? I was wondering.
Yeah, that's another thing that's, like, interesting to me, is that presumably mad scientist and Marty know each other because mad scientist, like, seeks him out. So the beginning of the movie, they're already friends, which means that it has to be the same timeline. Because if it's the old timeline before Marty travels, then he wouldn't know the guy.
So now we're in a fate-based universe in which Doc Brown never died.
Correct.
He was always wearing a bulletproof vest, and he always knew Marty.
But we can't get into it. It doesn't work as a fate-based universe because everything changes.
Yeah, like, explicitly he changes things.
So I believe we are in the Doctor Who
I am sure that people in the comments will have an opinion. If you think you can solve our witch theory of time travel, we would love to hear from you.
Yeah,
so please leave us your feelings, like and subscribe. So keep your eyes peeled. We'll see some new fun stuff from us. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.